background today, because
Every day.
in order for the the U to not have a weird border around you because of resizing on this side,
Oh yeah.
so I just have you on my second monitor, just my 16:9, because that's the one it's been on basically this whole time.
Like it.
That's
Oh.
better. Oh
All right.
man,
Yeah,
it's happening, bro.
it is.
It's happening.
I'm
Is
I'm still waking up. So
as you do, and I'm reeling from the last. Is like okay, so October 1st rolls around, right?
yes.
And there's just this collective, like, fuck, it's only October. How is it? How is it only October? That was just September that just happened. Like all of that was just September. And now I'm sitting here and I'm like, it's fucking October 16th already. Like, where did the last 2 weeks go? Oh, that's where it went. My kids weren't shitty for a solid month.
That's good. Wait,
I
and soon that mandate goes active, right?
Friday was a lot of people's last day.
Oh wow.
At
Still
least,
at the
at least.
70 driver mark?
Well, no. It looks like we only lost 8,
Hmm.
which is still a lot. But we also
Yeah.
have a lot of. There are a lot of folks in training right now. Like training
Oh,
has been absolutely slammed because there's been someone either in class or learning to be a bus driver
hmm.
since school started. So,
Nice.
like, I just did a ride along with somebody who just finished their first week of class. So he finished his first week of sitting down and having all the information just kind of thrown at him, and then he got on my bus and watched just how things go.
Nice. So that's that wasn't as much fallout then as
No,
initially
they
expected.
they did, and I largely disagree with their decision to go this route, but they approved every single religious exemption that came through.
The old cop out.
Yeah, and I understand why they did that. I still have a problem with it, but
Yeah.
I understand why it happened. Um, because if they hadn't done that, we wouldn't be able to continue operating.
Yeah.
That's just a
I,
fact.
that's
But
that's what I
we
assumed.
have at least a fair enough amount of subs and more on the way to be able to cover the routes that are short. And
That's
because the
good.
last couple classes have had like 11, 12 people in them, so
Pretty good. Are they
hopefully,
just backfilling to
pretty much, we're trying to not only build up enough to have all of our routes covered again, we're also
mhm.
trying um to have actual substitutes in case somebody's missing. So if somebody
Right,
calls out
right.
sick, we don't have to send fucking mechanics.
That's a thing, huh? That's pretty funny
Oh yeah,
actually.
that was
Huh.
happening for like 2 weeks. 2 weeks in a row on Fridays, we were sending out dispatchers, trainers, mechanics.
Damn. That's crazy. Pretty nutty.
So
Yeah. My work continues to be work. There,
you just
there's really
keep
nothing there.
on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on. I mean, I was sick this week and then hurt myself this week. It was a week. It was
Yeah,
a shitty week for me personally,
yeah.
but otherwise work's still going. So I don't know.
I've actually been having a fair amount of kids who've been out because they had credible exposure
Mm.
and like
I
the whole
guess I should say these weren't COVID related
I
symptoms.
yeah
So
I yeah but they yeah, I've noticed that there's been a lot of kids who've been out for like 2 weeks,
Oh, that always gives you that warm, fuzzy feeling.
right?
God, that's crazy. Oh,
Mostly elementary schoolers, obviously.
yeah. Yeah. Most high schoolers are probably alone, want to be alone.
Yeah. And I mean
Yeah.
my fuck, I told you how I'm handling my high schoolers, right?
Yeah.
If they don't want to wear their masks. Yeah, if they don't wear their masks, I stop the bus. Simple
Yeah.
as that.
It's awesome.
And it's gotten to the point now where like they know I'm not fucking around with it because I've had to do it several times throughout the week. And like some days I don't have to do it at all. Some days I have to stop 2 or 3 times to or from school. It just kind of depends, but it's to the point now where like I've been kind of caught in traffic for an extended period of time where I'm sitting in one spot just waiting for the car in front of me to go, and like
Yeah.
they'll start looking around.
Like
Who's
who's
not
not
wearing
wearing
their
the mask?
mask? Because like when I do actually stop, I make sure I do it on a big long straightaway where there's not traffic, so they
Yeah.
know I'm stopping.
Yeah. That's funny.
And
It's like you got them trained.
oh yeah,
That's
and it's getting
perfect.
more definitive because like I said I had that ride along yesterday, and I did it at like right after I got into like I was just getting out of a neighborhood and I turn a corner and I come to and almost stop and they put their mask on and they go, and then we get to school, I let them off, and then the guy who's riding along with me, he goes, okay, so there's a story behind why you almost stopped back there. And I'm like,
That's
yeah,
pretty
I told them that if they don't wear their masks, I'm gonna stop the bus. I made it their problem, and
Yep.
they're the most effective at making sure the rules are followed.
Yep.
Cause yeah, I don't. I'm tired of fucking dealing with it.
Yeah. Like solid solution.
Mm-hmm.
That's
And
all I
like
can say.
every other driver I've told that to has been like, I should try that. Let's
Oh,
see. We had a mini lockdown this week
oh,
at my
fun.
elementary
Active shooter,
school. Well, no, it was
bomb
a
threat.
an active manhunt nearby
Oh, fun.
where two of the buses out of that school, this was one of my schools that I drive out of, two of the buses out of that school had their entire route on a road that was shut down due to police activity.
Jeez.
So like
That's,
one of these drivers didn't have any students on their bus
damn.
because her entire route was on this road. So they just kept all the kids back.
That's fun. Uh,
And like
I
the
could.
little kids were fine, like the kindergartners, because they had started letting the kids out before they realized how dire the situation was.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh no, we're just holding kids back from this one apartment complex that's right there. And the driver was like, my entire route is on the road that's shut down. I cannot access any of the stops on my route. Therefore, I cannot take any of my students home. So they had to like the principal had to run around and like call people and talk to dispatch and get like all sorts of things. And in that time, they had brought the kindergartners out because they always do like kindergartners, first grade, second grade, third grade. They brought the kindergartners out. So I got two
Yeah.
kindergartners on my bus and they're just hanging out. And then I get a teacher come back and they're like, we're going to take them back to the classroom. I'm like, okay, you do that. And as we're walking back to the classroom, I hear the teacher saying, it was like, all right, we're going to go into the classroom and we're going to turn the lights off and we're going to take a nap.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I'm like, oh, man. Where's
That's
my
way
nap?
cooler. That's way cooler than sitting in a bus.
And I'm like,
Oh,
that's an interesting way to handle something like that. But the older kids knew that something was up. The
yeah.
you know third and fourth graders knew that something was screwy. So like one of them was like, I'm scared. I don't know what's going on. I feel sick. And I was like, I talked to her and I'm like, okay, here's the deal. Something happened. I didn't go into any crazy details because it was a manhunt for like two murder suspects.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, no, these two guys fucking ganked some some poor motherfucker on the side of the road. No, I'm just like,
Um,
okay, there was something that happened that made it so we can't get down a certain road. We don't
Yeah.
have to go near that road. There might have been some people hurt. I don't know. But we're not going anywhere near the danger.
Yeah.
And we're not going near anything dangerous. And I promise you that I will not let anything happen to you. And like that calmed her down.
That's good.
And I was like, oh, cool. She like actually trusts me enough
Right?
to be able
I've
to
been like, we're
say,
all gonna fucking die.
right,
Ah! Uh, yeah. I can remember it when I was in high school. They actually locked down the classrooms because there was a bomb threat at the junior high school that was like right next door to us. And the funny thing was, they never informed any of the parents about this.
oh jeez.
Like, oh
I
yeah, it was a whole shitstorm
Yeah, I
because
mean like I understand that play, but at the same time,
but the thing is, they didn't tell them after the fact. Like, it wasn't that
oh,
they didn't tell them during. It
it's
was the
like
fact that kids were
parents were
going
finding out
home.
from the kids that there was a
Yeah,
lockdown.
I was like, yeah, there's a lockdown. Somebody
Which
said there was like an active bomb threat, at the junior high, blah blah
that would have been a thing where like as soon as it's over,
blah.
send a mass email out.
Oh yeah,
That's
there was
how
nothing
that's
though.
how I'd handle it.
Yeah,
That's how
there
you
was
should handle
nothing.
it. Yeah, but for there to
I
be
don't think
that's a bad call.
I don't think anything was sent out until like a couple days
Jesus.
after
Like there
like
was no
parents were
official statement
complaining. No
until after
official
people were
statement,
bitching
nothing.
about it. Oh wow.
Yeah, it was very much oh, your kids let you know, it's fine. You know, they didn't find anything, but it was just it was one of those things where you
It's
probably
you
should
got to take
inform.
those precautionary measures.
Yeah, yeah. It was I think it was some kid or something, but there was a lot of crazy shit that happened at my school. I can remember um there was a oh god, there was like an active case against like two or four of the students because some girl claimed that they raped her
Oh
and all this, and it was like a false claim. And then the reason why is because I guess she was blowing one of the dudes in the bathroom, and the three other guys walked in, and so she got all embarrassed and shit, and then claimed the whole thing afterwards. It was like that was fucking scandalous shit that happened at my high school. Um, guy, it was I saw somebody get stabbed at my high school.
fuck.
Like I can't remember what the fuck we were all standing in line for, but like some shit started, and then like
Damn.
literally
Timmy
10
got
feet away
stabbed.
from me, 10 feet away from me, dude gets fucking stabbed. It was just like, what the fuck is going on today? Um,
Wow. Okay.
dude, it was, I mean, it was fucking, there was some wild shit that happened at my high school.
Apparently.
It was fucking crazy. Um, yeah, what else?
Then you went to a
I'm
little
sure.
podunk prairie.
Yeah, yeah, and then I move up to Washington and go to some podunk, like nothing but white kid school, which was just boring
Right.
and not exciting at all.
Hey. We had two black kids.
Yeah, the two token black kids that went to the school up in the yeah, that was dude, that was insane because
And hey, there was also a smattering of Mexicans.
it's true, but again, like
Hispanic individuals.
to go
I
from
knew
where
one
like
specific. I knew one specifically that was from Guatemala. Sorry.
to go from like a California high school
Oh
where
right.
realistically I I think I was the white people were the minority
Yeah.
realistically. So
You were the white
and
kid at the school.
yeah, we were the white kids at the school.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's never been. I don't know. Race has never been like an issue
Right.
for.
And that was actually something that Juliana commented on when she moved here is how fucking white it is up here.
It's the cold. That's what
It's
does it.
I mean, that's definitely a factor, but I have
That's why
been
Jamaica only had a bobsled team. So
I have been noticing as time goes on that there are more and more non-white kids going to school, at least that
which
I'm
is
seeing.
good. I mean,
Yeah,
that means at least
I'm
diversity
seeing
is
a
moving in.
lot more diversity in schools, which that's
Because
kind of a benefit of being a bus driver. Is I kind of have my ear to the ground on that.
yeah, yeah. I mean, honestly, I preferred having like a more
Mm-hmm.
um more the fuck, I guess mixed upbringing in schools, because it's just you learn so much more about
Right.
other people's
Yeah.
cultures
Like you actually get to
than
understand a little bit of what the fuck is going on.
yeah, and it's like it's yeah, coming up here, all white people, it was fucking weird. It
Yeah.
was weird. I was like, what the hell? It was like
But
this.
yeah, I would say a good quarter
Yeah,
to a third of my elementary kids are Hispanic specifically.
maybe that makes sense. Everybody's moving up from California,
Oh yeah.
so which is fine with me. I mean, there's too
And
many
you
white
know,
people here.
I've got my fair share of Asian kids.
Oh yeah, yeah. I had. Do you know what though? There was one Asian kid in high school that I went with up here. I hated him so much. He was one of those. I don't know for sure if his parents were rich, but he acted like his parents were rich. And he was like, "Oh, you moved up from California. You must have done well for yourself." It's like, well, first of all, I haven't done shit because I'm a 17-year-old. Like,
Right.
but he made it, and he was like, "Oh, my parents are into business, and we have a couple homes down there, and blah 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 blah." And I'm just like, okay, yeah, what the fuck ever. I
There's a
I did not like him though.
there's a chance I knew him.
I
Maybe his
doubt it.
name.
He was a senior.
There's a chance I knew him.
Oh, was it the just yeah? Was it the shitty Asian kid with glasses?
That
I
doesn't
can't remember his name.
okay. I don't know. The one I'm thinking of didn't have glasses.
Yeah, no, this one was definitely an asshole. He made it a point to like consistently pick on the kids who definitely were going through hard times,
Ah,
or like the poor kids, and that just pissed me off
yeah, fuck those people.
to
Like
the
in
point
general,
where,
like don't do that.
well, I dude, for instance, he kept like in one of my classes that I took, which was it street law? I think it was
Street law?
street law. Was that not
That
a
was not a
course later on?
class that I had the option of taking.
Yeah, it was so I could hand out street justice.
Oh my
But
god, you fucking weeb.
so no, it was like street law or some like
Jesus
intro
fucking
law
Christ.
class, and he kept fucking like touching my hand and my arm, like trying to, when he was talking to me. I was like, dude, stop fucking touching me. He was like, oh, what, you don't like being touched? He did it again, and I took his finger. I was like, I will fucking take this goddamn finger if you don't stop fucking touching me. And I made sure to like wrench on it, and he was like, and it was like, yeah, get the
It's like
fuck away from me,
stop
dude.
fucking touching me.
Yeah, it's
That
like,
reminds me of I was in 7th grade science class and I did not have friends in middle school. So I'm sitting there and I'm just trying to do my work, right? Like I'm
yeah,
just sitting there, I'm just trying to do whatever little worksheet we've been handed, and like I'm doing my thing. And this one kid fucking comes up and he just like slaps his hand down on my work on the worksheet I'm working on, and he just starts crinkling it. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Stop. I gotta
yeah.
say what the fuck because I was in Christian school. That was a bad word.
Oh
But I'm
yeah,
like,
H
dude.
double hockey
But
sticks.
I'm
What
like,
what the H?
dude, stop. And he just like locked eyes with me and just kept doing it. So I stabbed him in the hand with my
There you
pencil.
go.
And he's like, you just stabbed him. I'm like, he was destroying my work. What the fuck was I
Yeah,
supposed to? He was destroying my work and he wasn't stopping.
he needs to learn his consequences.
Yeah, you can do whatever the fuck you want, but you gotta accept the consequences.
Exactly.
Cough, cough, Dave
Shit,
Chappelle.
that just bothered the shit out of me. Like I cannot stand fucking people touching,
Right?
like
Like,
especially when it's
just,
uninvited.
it's like, there's a bubble.
Yeah,
Stay out of the bubble. There's a
yeah.
bubble.
And then there was one point he put like a sticky note. It said "kick me" on it, like on my shoulder. I'm like, are you fucking five?
Like
What?
on the front of you?
No, like on the back of me. But I'm like, are you five? Like, I'm not retarded. Like, I obviously felt you put something there.
Like he didn't try to be sneaky about it or anything. He just like,
Fuck no. He thought he was like a ninja, but he wasn't. It was the stupidest shit.
wow.
I could not stand that kid. I Part of me hopes he's like really fucking something. So part of me hopes something awful happened in his life. Realistically, I'm sure his parents bailed him out of like. I assume that his parents probably bailed him out of rape charges and other things by now, um, just based on his activity as a high schooler. But who the fuck knows, man? I hated that guy with a passion.
Sounds like a shitty dude.
Yeah, I'm trying to think because like
Excuse me.
I don't know. I was always a fan of. I hung out with like the not the in crowd kids. I guess it would be. It'd be more of like those kids on the like just fringe of even like people wanting to talk to them. It's like those are the interesting kids.
Oh yeah,
I'd rather hang out with the interesting kids that actually do cool shit than
yeah,
the popular kids where it's like, oh,
yep.
we went snowboarding this weekend up in the mountains, and my parents own a cabin.
Like for me, up until sophomore year, so I did most of the way through, or all the way through sophomore year. I did science Olympiad.
Yeah,
So like those were the kids I hung out with, the fucking nerds. And I mean, like at Prairie, Science Olympiad was like the thing that got
it
our school
was.
any amount of positive attention.
Wasn't the
Because
football team.
it
That's
wasn't
for
ba-
fuck sure.
it wasn't a football team, and I mean, well, like girls basketball did well
Yeah,
always,
girls
but
basketball did well.
it certainly was not the football team that
Yeah,
got us any attention. And as
nope.
far as I'm aware, Prairie's football team still sucks.
That's good. That's good to know. It's either poor coaching or just everything else.
The
I don't
fact
know.
that the school district has no money ever at all
Yeah,
to do anything,
yeah.
and any money they do get goes to Battleground High School.
Yep. But they don't pick favorites.
No, not at all.
Yeah. I fucking hated high school. I think everybody hated high school. If you liked high school, there's something wrong with you.
I didn't hate high school simply because I finally got friends.
Okay, that's all right. I'll allow
I
that
it
one.
it allowed me to actually exist as a human being without being scrutinized for existing. You know,
Yes.
so I kind of had like it had that going for it, but I'm not like, oh man, I miss high school. Those were good times. Fuck no, high school sucked.
Yeah.
It was just
No,
high school was just objectively less shitty than middle school, so I have
that
vague
is true.
fondness for it.
Yeah. That is true. High school was less shitty than middle school. But
And I
yeah,
mean,
it
like
also
my
depends.
like I did like, and I'm very lightly exaggerating when I say I did not have friends until I was in high school.
Yeah, I went to a small fucking Christian school, so
Hey, oh, that's right, you did. We
yeah.
have that in common.
Like, dude, like my school had like maybe 30 kids at any given point
Okay,
throughout all grades.
you were
Yeah, we
way
were
smaller
fucking
than me.
tiny. We
My
were
my
tiny.
whole middle school was 150 kids.
I was the only graduating eighth grader.
Jesus Christ.
That's how small the school was, dude. So, yeah.
And see, like with 30 kids for the whole school, like that's hard to really, especially with all grade levels, that's really hard to start separating into cliques and have
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was
sort
very
of
much
like
like
exclusionary groups. With 150, that's just enough for there to
to have
be
it.
the standard clique structure
Yeah,
and for there to
true.
be exclusionary groups. So it gets bad.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was definitely there weren't any clicks, but it was definitely from a social aspect, it was 100% a shitty social
Oh
aspect.
yeah, you might as well have been homeschooled at that point.
Yeah, yeah. So like going into high school after that was like a fucking shell shock type deal because it was like,
Well,
holy shit, there's a lot of
this is the same for me.
fucking
I mean, I
kids.
went to a high school with 10 times as many students as my middle school.
Yeah, I think how many we're at. Um, I don't even know. I should look up see how many.
How many students
Uh,
went to whatever school you went to?
yeah, I know it's a lot. I just don't know.
Oh, because you went to a California high school. Shit, that would have been big.
Yeah, I'm trying to think here how I would find out.
Oh, I do have a kids are stupid story.
Excellent. I mean, I would hope so.
Like for real. Holy shit. This one's extra special.
Excellent. Excellent. Oh man, I don't know how the hell I would find this out.
I generally don't post those numbers because
Yeah,
that draws attention to things in places that they don't want you looking at.
how dare they? If I had to get, I wonder. Hold on, let's see here, Google. Okay, so if we average it out, it looks like there's about 1,500 students
Yeah,
per high school in California, specifically.
that sounds about right.
So yeah, going from 30 kids to 1,500 kids,
It's a jump.
that's a little bit of a leap.
It's a jump.
Uh,
It's about
but
it's
what is
about
that?
50 times more.
50 times more? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's math. Yeah. So the only saving grace was a lot of kids in my neighborhood I already knew that were in my same grade going in like freshman year,
That
so that
helps.
was helpful.
That helps.
But still, it was still just a fucking like holy shit.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fucking
50
kids
times
here.
more.
So yeah, that sucked.
So
Social
in children
understandings.
in children who make bad decisions.
Yes, love this game.
So naturally, because of COVID, there are seating assignments. Assigned
Yes.
seats at all grade levels. Siblings and household members have to sit together. So like if you're cousins and you live together, you have to sit next to each other, all that. And there was one
Okay.
kid who he hadn't been writing because he's been busy with track all school year.
Okay.
Fine, whatever.
So he's been running home. That's good.
Basically. And it's so he didn't have a name tag. He wasn't there the day I got everybody's name to get all the name tags.
Okay.
So he's finally getting on the bus and he's like, "Hey, where's my assigned seat?" And I'm like, "What's your name?" And he tells me his name, and I'm like, "Okay, you don't have an assigned seat yet. Go ahead and sit here, and I'll make sure you have one tomorrow." No big deal, right?
Yeah.
He goes and he sits in the spot, and then go through, take everyone home, drop everyone off, and then after I get to my high school, this is a middle schooler, by the way. I get to my high school, and I do my normal bus check.
Yeah.
Check to make sure nobody left anything behind, any of that. And in the seat this kid was sitting in was that. I just sent it to you on Discord.
Oh, okay. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I'm like, okay.
A little
It's
bit of damage there.
for the audio listeners. It's a 9-inch gash in the back of one of my bus seats. Like that's my hand next to it, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fairly.
So, like, holy shit.
Yeah.
It's nothing. And like I noticed that he had scissors on him, and I didn't really think anything of it. I thought he was just kind of using them as a fidget thing. Whatever.
This was the track kid, right?
This was the track kid.
Yeah. Good.
So I go and I the next day I talked to this kid because the other kid who rides only rides in the afternoon, so I never see him. So I talked to this track kid, and I was like, okay, so I think you know why I stopped to talk. You know why I stopped you to talk, and he goes, yeah. Do you want to tell me what happened? Well, I don't remember.
Oh, okay.
So I went, okay, let me tell you what I saw. I saw you get on my bus with a pair of scissors, and then I ran my route, dropped all my middle school kids off, and then when I get to my next school and I check my seats, there's a big gash in the seat I asked you to sit in. And I go over and I point to it. And I taped it up at that point. You can see the tape at the bottom.
Yeah.
But I taped it up and I point to it and he goes, "Oh yeah, I remember now." I was like, "Okay, so what happened?" And he goes, "That was all me. The other kid was just sitting there drawing. I did it." So I'm like, "Okay, so the other kid had nothing to do with this. This was
Good
entirely you."
fucking future serial killer award. Jesus.
Well, and like it was obvious, like he knew he fucked up.
Oh,
He
yeah,
knew he
but
fucked up, and he knew that there was like, he knew he fucked up. He knew I caught him fucking up. He could have very easily just thrown the other kid under the bus, and I would have been like, okay, let's check the tapes. Because like if he had
yeah.
if he had kept pushing after I told my side of the story, I would have been like, be very clear about your answer here, because there are cameras on this bus, and we will find out how this damage happened.
Yeah.
But he told me straight up. He's like, yeah, that was me. The other kid had nothing to do with it. He just sat there drawing. I'm like, okay. You will be written up, and your parents will be charged for the damages.
What the fuck?
That's
Uh,
that's how it
what's,
goes.
what's
That's
the
the
cost on something like that?
like $300.
Oh, God, I would be so pissed as a parent. I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So the next morning, the next day, I get, he's getting on the bus and Dad's there,
Oh, fun.
and he's like, "Yeah, can I get an email of the picture of the damages?" And I was like, "That will get taken care of today," because I specifically had a note from one of the trainers that was like, "Hey, I need a picture of that damage."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Yeah, that'll get taken care of. You'll get all communications through the school." And he's like, "Yeah, I want to get, let's make sure we get both accounts." And I was like, "Okay." And I'm like, "There's one account. Your kid copped to it straight up. Had no bones about it. I'm sure he lied to Dad. I'm
Oh, yeah,
certain he
probably.
lied to his dad and be like, oh, it was the other kid." And I was like, "No, you told me. I am operating off of what you told me, and you told me it was entirely you."
Yeah. Not to mention, it's like, do we want to go to the tapes? Because the tapes.
So we can check the tapes. There's 8 cameras
Yeah.
on that bus, and boy, howdy, one of them caught you.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Not exaggerating when I say 8 cameras either.
That's crazy. What a shit.
With audio. So if nothing
Oh,
else,
perfect.
we can pull up. If nothing else, we can pull up the me talking to him to like
Oh, yeah.
get his confession. More, never mind, actually seeing him do it.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I got you dead to rights, kiddo. And like,
That's good.
kid copped to it. He owned it. I handed down. I wrote him up. I filled out the bus repair form, and like they like the mechanics came and they fixed it, and like I couldn't even tell where the damage was.
Nice.
Like just looking at it, you can't tell where the big gash was.
Nice.
So yeah, they fixed it.
That's good.
Because I came in and like some of my windows were open and my door was open, and I'm like, what the hell? And it smelled. And I was like,
Oh, yeah.
did they come and get my tapes? What happened? And I go and I look at the seat, and I was like, oh, they fixed it.
That's funny.
And I think that was one of those they kind of fast tracked because the damage was so bad.
Oh, yeah. Like, that's massive. I mean,
That-
it would only get worse. Kids would start fucking with
yeah,
it.
I was surprised
I
was surprised my elementary school kids didn't fuck with it, because that
I'd
was
be one of those
after
kids.
that picture was after I had done my elementary school run for that day. So, and I think I'd even done. No, I had done my elementary school run for that day and gotten it taped up.
Fucking A.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, you're in a, like, here's what I don't get. You're in assigned seats.
Yeah, yeah, you're extra
How
fucked
did
if you
you
do anything.
think you would get away with that? And I've been like particularly sticky about staying in your assigned seats. I've had to stop and talk to several other students about like, hey, you need to sit in your assigned seat.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
Kids are dumb.
now I've just made this kid's assigned seat the one with the gash, so he has to just remember.
Remember, remember the things he
Just
did.
like it's just that little bit of indication. And
Yeah.
I had another one. This is less stupid, but you know, I'm particularly sticky about crossing the street properly.
Hmm.
You have to get off the bus. You have to wait for me to wave you across so I can check and make sure it's all clear and everything. So, like, I get off, and the student that crosses all the time just gets off and starts going. So I'm like, okay, horn. I lay on the horn, and she like turns and looks at me with like deer in the headlights, and I've got my hand up, and I just like whip my hand pointing back, and she's just like, ugh.
Gotta wait.
And it goes back. I'm like, you gotta fucking wait.
Yeah,
It's the law. I'm not
yeah.
just being a dick about it. It's the law that you have to stop and wait.
What if that horn was another car? That
Exactly. And like that's the thing is that's the first time anybody's ever stopped when I honked my horn. Most of the time
they
they just
usually
keep
just go.
going.
Uh,
Like do you not realize that I'm honking for a reason? I
yeah,
could have been honking because there was a car gunning past my stop sign.
yeah.
They don't stop, they don't check, they don't look. It's literally my job. Like, can you imagine how fucking mortified I would have been if there had been a car and they did get hit?
Oh yeah.
Like, holy fucking shit. Like, that would
Kids
have
are
been
dumb.
actually traumatizing for me. Much
Yeah,
less, you know, now I have to explain to parents why she didn't stop.
yeah.
Or like,
You
hey,
can't,
you know,
you can't just say,
your kid's hospitalized because some asshole decided to break the law and your kid wasn't following the rules.
yeah. Little Susie's a dipshit. That's why she's in the hospital right now.
I pretty much. Like for real.
I'd be that person. I'd be like, your child's an idiot. That's why they're in the
Your
hospital right now.
your yes, your offspring is failing the human race
Yeah.
at the moment.
I don't know which one of you failed her. I don't know whose genes are more superior in this child. Basically, I'm saying this is your fault. I don't even blame the other driver. Terrible. Oh, so I don't know if you saw, but this
I did.
today's podcast is sponsored by EK. So
Is that more
oh,
stuff or is that just the same stuff that you already
it's,
sent me a picture of?
it's the same stuff. I just haven't moved it.
Okay.
It's
I
just
mean, why
sitting
would
there.
you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Oh,
part of the reason I'm at a different angle right now is because I'm very not happy with my space and I need
oh
to
yeah. Well,
change it.
you're
I
still waiting like desk and stuff, right?
Yeah, and I like the person I'm getting the desk from is available, but his girlfriend's not, and we need her car to get the table here. So it's just like, okay, great.
Yeah.
So I was hoping to
Um,
have I had last Friday off, so I was hoping they were in town. You know, I was hoping they'd be available to get the table over here, so I could just take Friday and whirlwind readjust it because I've been able to do much more than what this is going to take in a day. Like I've
yeah.
completely rearranged the apartment in a day. So,
Nice.
and that's like taking books off of shelves, putting back books back on shelves. So I can
Yeah.
definitely doing this is probably 4 hours.
Nice.
Yeah, because I'm well, maybe a little longer because I'm planning on actually like going through shit. So I have a couple Doom boxes in here that I need to take care of.
Doom boxes, eh?
Yeah.
Is that where you just put shit you don't want to deal with
You're
right
just
now?
like, okay, you're moving or you're rearranging and you're just like all of this just goes in this box.
Yeah.
To
I'm
get
pretty
dealt
sure
with
I
later.
have
I have a box here that's been sitting here for over a year.
I'm pretty sure I have a few of those laying around.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've got a box here. I've got a box under my desk that is from before Juliana and I got together.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Oh yeah.
uh,
This is-
curious what's in that box.
Me too. I thought it was my original 7870 graphics card, but I found that somewhere else, so now I'm concerned.
There's going to be a dead animal in there. Like, oh,
There might
I
be.
forgot I forgot I had a dog.
It's a Granger
Oh,
box too. I've never bought anything from Granger. I have no idea where the box came from.
interesting. Huh. Very interesting. I almost feel like we should do an unboxing.
Let's not, because there could be some indiscretionary stuff in there that I don't want to deal with.
You just open a little bit. You're like, oh, okay. Yeah, we're going to not do
We're
that.
gonna just like, well, there's a box of stuff in it, and that's gonna go away.
We're not gonna worry about that.
Yep.
It's like the disposable camera that I found next to a dumpster
That's right.
that I've had for I don't even know how long now. 10 years. More than 10
That's
years.
Right, you're telling me.
Yeah. And I'm afraid to get it developed because I don't know what's on it. It only had like one picture left when I found it.
Jesus, some kind of murder victim.
Something. I mean, for all intents and purposes, there could be like literally a cold case that could be solved on this camera. I have no idea.
You could hold that kind of power.
And I'm just like, God, I don't want to get this developed. I need to find somebody who can develop film because I don't want to take it somewhere and then have like the police call me like,
who has all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to get all the stuff because that shit's expensive.
No, God, no. I will just pay somebody who already knows how to do these things. So, yeah, I don't know what to do with that thing.
Because you'd have to find somebody who can process color, which is its own
thing.
I'm sure you could probably post on Fiverr and be like, I need somebody to fix me.
Yeah, and not to judge me. I have no idea
questions asked. This is not my camera. I found it, and I just want to make sure there's not a murder on here.
Yes.
Or like,
anything awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if it is anything untoward, I will immediately dispose of all troublesome things. See, and like that's one of those. That's one of those like you could post it to like Fiverr or some OfferUp or some shit, but you really want it to be somebody you know.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So that you can like swear them to secrecy. Shit like someone you know who's willing to like just take that shit to their grave with you.
Yeah.
On the off chance it's something fucked up. You know?
Yeah. I need to hit up. I think there's some people at work that develop film, so I might go that route and see what happens. We'll see. That'll remain a mystery. I think I'll just keep it. Maybe I'll pass it on to future generations. But then, like, this is your problem now.
By then, film development will just be a thing of the past.
It'll be like an old school technique that very few people know.
Right.
It's like how
texts.
It's like how Alexia does the whole printing press thing, you know? Yeah. It'll just be like, oh yeah, this is a thing that people do sometimes.
People still do like fucking woodblock carvings.
Oh yeah, dude. There's a guy on TikTok that does like the whole printing press shit too.
Oh yeah, it's good stuff.
There's a lot. Watched him, which I don't even know how many backlogged TikToks I have. For you at this point. I've been barely getting on, and so I just see the number. Actually, let's check right now. Last time I looked, it was 89.
It's probably more than that.
I think we might be past the 100 mark by now.
Probably. I sent you a good few.
Oh, 126.
That sounds perfect.
All right.
So, the last time you sent me a video on Wednesday.
Oh, which one was that? I think it was
the. Oh my God! It's Jason Bourne.
I laughed way too hard at that one.
That one was really funny. Like that was actually like.
I thought that railing was gonna collapse until I looked again, and it was like I was like, okay, no, it's like a full metal. It's a full tube metal railing. Like,
there's man, I sent you some good ones too. And a lot of it is like I'm sending it to you and like 3 other people.
Yeah.
So I have like 5 people that I just spam TikToks to. You being one of them.
Yep.
Daniel being the other. Juliana being the third. Her sister being the fourth. I am a little more scrupulous with what I send to my sister-in-law. And then
that's understandable.
The fifth is my friend Toki. Like he was the first person I like connected with on TikTok, just because he's the only person I knew offhand who had a TikTok.
Yeah.
Because I forgot Daniel had one until he followed me.
I think I told him to follow you.
Okay, that's very possible. But yeah, so apparently the world is going on strike.
Yes.
Have you seen
but
all of everything that's going on there? Holy fuck.
Yeah, but it's all for good intention.
Oh, it's all for like perfectly valid reasons that have needed to be addressed for decades.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see, we got fucking John Deere.
Yep.
Who like they got a pretty sweet like pay raise deal. Like 5 to 6% is nothing to nothing to shake.
No,
but they're trying to. What they're trying to do is they're trying to get back to the level of benefits they had back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Like that's where they're at. Like that's why they're on strike right now. Is they want their amazing benefits back, because there are people who've been with the company for 20 years that have basically no solid retirement plan.
Yeah,
just because the retirement plan that they have is abysmal.
And you got Kellogg,
who were trying to take away pensions. What the fuck?
And strip
benefits,
medical benefits. Like what? Yeah. Okay, it's like okay,
right?
Because good luck with that.
Yeah,
you know.
We have Kellogg, John Deere. Apparently, the New York taxis are going on strike.
Oh,
they shut down the Brooklyn Bridge yesterday.
Nice.
They just blocked it end to end. And everyone's like, "Oh, what about the ambulances?" Like, there's no way an ambulance, like, there's no reason for an ambulance to go from Brooklyn to Manhattan or vice versa, because there's a hospital on either side that's objectively closer.
Yes, that is accurate.
They're not blocking. There's no way they're actually blocking emergency services by blocking the Brooklyn Bridge. All they're doing is fucking with commuters.
Why? So why are they striking?
They are striking because their medallion mortgages are unreasonable. People are losing their homes and livelihoods because they can't pay their medallion mortgages. So they're trying to get it to a set rate that's actually reasonable, with a set payment plan that's actually reasonable, as well as like a few other things. But the big one is their medallion, like the cost of their medallion that they have to lease, because there's some people who owe like $800,000 just for their medallion.
That is so stupid.
They're trying to get it down to a flat $145,000. Because they're basically just leasing their own business at that point.
Yeah.
It's a mortgage. I don't know exactly how it works, but it's a mortgage that they have to pay down in order to operate a taxi in New York City.
So
and they're
ridiculous.
Like all of the New York legislators, like AOC, Bernie Sanders, Chuck Schumer, they're all in support of the taxi drivers. They're really trying to get Bill de Blasio on it. They're holding I guess yesterday was the 27th day they've locked down the Brooklyn Bridge.
Nice.
And there's just a 24/7 picket outside of City Hall.
There's a lot of fucking taxi drivers in New York City.
Taxi drivers, and they're really pissed off. Everyone's like, "Oh, this is just gonna piss off the people." I'm like, "It's fucking supposed to."
That's what strikes are supposed to do.
If you want this to stop, talk to the people who can make it stop.
Yeah. That people are dumb. That's what strikes are supposed to do.
I'm just gonna get an Uber. I'm like, yeah, you're crossing the picket line. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, I mean, but again, we live in a society where people would be upset that people at McDonald's are making $15 an hour. because they don't realize they can leverage that against their own employer to get more money.
Mm-hmm.
That's how much I make.
And
Yeah, you could be making
that's
more.
and like that's actually where I'm at with my union right now, because
Mhm.
it's a negotiation year.
Oh, that's right.
So we actually have the power to be like, look, inflation is such that less skilled jobs are now because like pay is actually starting to catch up to inflation. That's why you're
Mhm.
seeing McDonald's and Taco Bell and places like that hiring jobs starting at $15, $17 an hour, because they're finally starting to catch up to inflation, because they don't have a fucking choice.
Yeah, yeah,
Because if they want workers, they have to pay workers. If they want
yeah.
workers, they have to give benefits to workers.
Which it's kind of ironic and funny that the jobs we would consider, the entry level shit jobs are the ones who are like, oh shit, we actually have to pay these people.
Yeah.
They're the ones who are actually doing it first, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just kind of funny.
Someone has to
Uh,
do the jobs you don't want to do.
yeah,
But
exactly.
the strike that really there's two strikes that really have my attention, one more than the other. The one that lesser has my attention but is still very interesting is Kaiser Permanente.
Oh, really? I didn't hear about that one.
They authorized a strike this week,
Interesting.
because management, because they're noting that they had $2 billion in profits in 2020.
Yeah.
Go figure. Hospital made a lot of money in 2020.
What?
Huh.
I never would have thought.
So they're like, okay, you have record profits. Why are we only getting a 1% raise?
Ooh,
And
yeah.
why is it that new hires are getting hired at a rate,
At a higher pay.
no,
Oh,
at a rate that is 26 to 39% lower than someone doing the same job
oh,
in a union position?
really?
Mhm.
That's a problem.
Mhm. Like that is a union buster technique.
Yeah,
Like that is classic union buster technique to try and break a union and create a divide
yeah.
between the old guard and the new. Because now the new
Um,
people are like, well, why do they make so much more money? Because you got hired on the wrong day.
yeah.
So they've authorized a strike. They haven't set a date. They haven't gone on strike yet, but they've
Interesting.
authorized that to happen if it needs to happen, and it'll probably need to happen.
Sounds like it. Maybe that's ridiculous.
And then
I I'd be fucking pissed to find out that I was being hired at like 29% less
less
than,
than someone in the same job that just got
yeah.
hired a day before you. Like
And this
it
is,
could be that stark of someone gets
yeah.
hired the day before the cutoff of we're implementing, the day before they implement the tiered system, and the day after is that.
This is this is a solid reminder, folks. Don't be afraid to share your pay with your
Yep.
coworkers.
Talk about your pay. That shit's important.
Yep.
And then the one that really has my attention, because that's going to have the greatest impact nationwide, is the Iatsey Strike.
Mm.
Have you heard about
I
that one?
haven't I haven't heard about that one either.
So, do you know what Iatsey is?
I have a vague idea. I could Google it.
So, Iatsey is the International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees,
Yeah. Okay.
specifically Iatsey.
Crippling Hollywood strike. It sounds like there's close to a
It's
deal.
does it?
This was an hour ago.
Okay,
It
because
said the
that
IATSE,
was the thing, because Iatsey put a deadline on it.
yeah,
So
IATSE and
they've been
AMPTP close to deal.
okay. They've been in talks with the AMPTP for months now, trying to get better wages, better turnaround times, safer working conditions, like all sorts of things. Because like the usually when you're working on a TV show, you make a TV rate, right?
Yeah.
Well, who's making the most TV shows right now? Amazon, Netflix, Hulu. It's
Oh
all
yeah,
these
yeah,
streaming services. And it
yeah.
was like when they started doing that, it's like, well, it's not really TV, is it? So they're not getting paid that TV rate. And they're still
This
not getting paid that TV rate.
sounds like the Disney Scarlett Johansson thing.
Oh yeah. And like this is caught cuz it's not the whole union that's stepping up to like
Mm-hmm.
it's not all of Iatsey. It's two specific chapters that are doing this. It's local 600 and local 800. Or sorry, local 700. 600 is camera operators
Oh, okay.
and 700 is editors.
Mm.
Those are the two chapters of the Iatsey Union that have voted to strike and would be going on strike if it follows through, if they don't come to a deal by Monday at midnight.
All right.
And like you can't, and like apparently the AMPTP was actually counting on running out the clock because they were going to try and pull from film schools.
It's so fucked up.
They were going to try and pull from film schools. So people who are objectively less skilled,
Yeah,
less experienced.
but also would grasp at that opportunity, right?
Well, and it's like, yes, they grasp at that opportunity, but if they did that, they would be crossing the picket line and they would destroy their career before it even started.
Yeah.
And I think any film school worth its salt would actually explain why they shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Why
there's still those people, but yeah.
There's still those people who would do it, but there's the strong any good film school is going to explain to its students why they should not cross this picket line.
And realistically, part of me feels like any person that's going to film school has already that basic understanding of not to fuck with that.
Because it's not just like, oh yeah, IATSE's going on strike. There's also the Writers Guild is standing in solidarity.
Shit. And we all remember when they went on strike.
Right?
Jesus Christ, that was an awful time.
Dark age of television.
It really was. I feel the only person who kept it strong was Conan.
Pretty much.
And that's because he actually paid people out of his pocket.
Yeah.
And to be fair, Conan used to write, so he doesn't need writers.
Exactly. But Conan actually knows what the fuck he's doing. Yeah. But the really big one that has expressed their support is SAG.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's a big one.
SAG has officially voiced their support of the Iatsey strike.
Good. I mean, that's good. We'll see what happens, and hopefully they get a deal before Monday at midnight.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Because I haven't checked since yesterday.
Yeah, like I said, there was an article an hour ago from Variety that said they were close, but
what's the deal to avert crippling Hollywood strike?
Yeah, that was like the one I just
industry source. Yeah, it's Variety exclusive. Industry sources said virtual negotiations between the sides went late into Friday night as Carol Lombardini, president of the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers Bargaining Association for Major Studios, addressed numerous Iatsey leaders about the details of deals on thorny issues of working conditions that were sorted through in the marathon sessions. Industry sources cite Peter Rice, chairman of Disney General Entertainment Content, and veteran entertainment attorney Ken Ziffrin as key players who helped Lombardini bridge the gap during the past few days. Sources said Lombardini and Loeb both knuckled down on a key items list with a mutual understanding that a strike would cripple the industry that is only now starting to recover from the shock of COVID. One move from the studio side that helped move things along was a hike in the raise schedule over the 3-year term of the deal. Instead of the basic minimums rising 3% in year one of the deal and 2.5% for the remaining 2 years, the contract will bring 3% hikes per year. Better. I mean, I can tell you a 3% pay raise is not insignificant.
Yeah.
Like, I got a 3% pay raise at the beginning of this school year, and
Hmm.
I I started getting paid a whole dollar more per hour. So it's not an insignificant amount of money.
No.
Sources familiar with the talks said Lombardini spent several hours on a video conference call discussing the deal terms, pension and health plan issues, and the general quality of life concerns that brought Iatsey to the brink of a nationwide strike for the first time in the union's nearly 130-year history. So, like, it's a big fucking deal if they go on strike.
Oh yeah.
Because it's 60,000 people who are just like, fuck you.
Yeah. See,
A tentative contract agreement would have to be ratified by the roughly 60,000 union members covered by the locals whose contracts expired on September 10th. The negotiations cover the basic agreement, which applies to 13 Los Angeles-based locals, as well as the companion area standards agreement, which applies to locals across the country. Some members have said they will vote against ratification if certain provisions are not included, particularly those pertaining to longer time off between shifts. Membership received a terse update after 11 p.m. on Friday night, stating only that bargaining has concluded for the night and will resume tomorrow morning. So, today.
Yeah.
The union has scheduled solidarity events in New York, Chicago, and Atlanta this weekend, and was also recruiting strike captains to organize picketing if a deal could not be concluded by 12:01 a.m. Pacific Time on Monday. Iatsey International Chief Matt Loeb addressed commitment to a deal, but also membership's willingness to go out in an interview with the Associated Press on Friday. Multiple sources said hours were spent on Friday on working out the specifics of a meal plan adjustments, rest breaks, and between shift turnaround times, but the details of compromise remain unclear. Another sticking point for Iatsey was the long-standing new media clause that has allowed some of the emerging streaming giants, those with fewer than 20 million domestic subscribers, to pay lower residual fees than established broadcast and cable networks and larger streamers. Those residual fees are paid out by production companies to help fund Iatsey's pension and health plans. Iatsey pushed for an end to all such discounts, noting that new media is an anachronism in 2021. The resolution on the issue that involves Apple TV Plus, Paramount Plus, Peacock, and other smaller streamers is still unclear. Industry
AKA
sources...
people that have a fuck ton of money and shouldn't have to pay lower.
Exactly. And that's exactly the point, is like new media is an anachronism. These are companies that have been in business for nigh on a century now.
Yeah, and been in media. It's not new media if they've been
And
in media.
that's exactly my point, is like these companies have been in the media business. Paramount, Peacock, CBS, whatever. They've all been in business as a media company for some almost a century.
Yeah,
they have no reason to be calling themselves new media.
Yeah.
Industry sources cited Disney's Rice as one of a handful of executive insiders, including former Directors Guild of America President Jay Roth, who helped Lombardini get members of the AMPTP member companies to focus on the talks and to realize the severity of the strike threat. Roth was said to have been a key liaison for the studios and Iatsey. The union already had tapped Zifrin, a famously savvy dealmaker with decades of Hollywood labor experience, as a consultant in the talks. So basically, the Disney guy went, look, if this shit shuts down, our cash cow is gone.
We're all gonna die.
Yeah. Like the thing that has kept us going. I mean, basically what is keeping Disney alive right now. Specifically, Marvel content.
Oh, yeah. And Star Wars content.
Well, that's still Star Wars.
Well, yeah, but...
mostly Marvel content. There's a much more rabid Marvel fan base than there is a Star Wars fan base right now.
I would argue. Probably.
Just because of how poorly Disney's been handling Star Wars.
Have they?
Have you seen,
their shows have been fantastic.
Okay, The Mandalorian was good.
Which is what I'm thinking more
Yeah,
on, because
because
those are on the streaming service.
right,
So
that's the one show that Disney's done. They did just announce the Book of Boba Fett.
well, they've also done the Bad Batch, which
Oh,
is
they did do the
like
Bad Batch.
they did the Bad Batch, and now they did the other one that's out.
They did Visions. That's all stories that
Yes,
don't really
yeah,
need to, that have actually nothing to do with Star Wars, really,
essentially. But it's
at
good.
all.
It's I don't know if you've seen any of it, but it's pretty damn good.
I have been largely disappointed with everything I've seen. I've seen up through Toby and been like,
Fine. I've enjoyed it. All right, there.
I
I'll
could
be in the
like
minority.
I watched the first 6, and the one with the Sabersmith was the first one that was like, okay, this is actually kind of cool. Because that's the first one that like, that's the first one where it actually depended on it being Star Wars,
Yeah,
being in
I'll
the
agree
Star
with that.
Wars universe to actually kind of make sense being in a Star Wars thing. Like so many of the ones, at least the ones I've watched so far, I have like 3 left, but I can't get into it. So many of them are so just generic stories that I feel like they're only putting the Star Wars name on it. And like the only thing Star Wars about it is that they use lightsabers and mention kyber crystals. Like that's it. And I'm just like that's not what I was hoping for. I was hoping they would actually do things that are a little more relevant. And like I get that they're trying to expand upon the universe a bit more since they decanonized everything that's not made by Disney.
Yes. Although with the remake announcement of Kotar, I think we're in for a happy fun time.
That should be that I since they didn't give it to EA, that should be good.
Oh yeah. Well, you just don't fuck it up. But how hard is it? The story's there.
Yeah,
You're literally just
you just need
remaking
to make it pretty.
graphics. Yeah. Just
Probably
new.
like make it pretty and do better voice acting probably.
Yeah. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
And there you go. Then it's canon, and then we can hopefully have Peter Jackson. Maybe I'm just throwing names out there. Direct some sort of series. You know, I feel like he would do a good job with that.
Getting some wishful thinking out.
Yeah, definitely getting wishful thinking out.
Peter
'Cause,
Jackson as a
God,
Star Wars property would be pretty fucking great. I won't.
I think I don't think it would be bad.
He would he'd if they gave Peter Jackson a mainline Star Wars story, that would save it.
I think Kodor would be it, because realistically, that first game would be 3 movies. I would
But
say
why would they make movies
easily,
when they're already remaking the game?
because technically it's not canon right now
And
until that
well,
remake comes out.
but that's the problem is the basis of KOTOR is making the story your own.
Yes, true.
It's so if you go the route of okay, here's the canon story, fans are going to be mad no matter who makes it.
That's true. I don't know.
The hard
Maybe they'll.
you of all people should know that the hardest nerd fandom fans to make happy are the Star Wars fans. It is almost impossible to have anything Star Wars come out without having somebody go, well, actually, and be upset about it.
I think yes, and I think the next group that's going to have their chance will be the Lord of the Rings group when that Amazon series drops.
Fuck, what's Amazon
But
doing?
they're making a Lord of the Rings show. You didn't know that?
But like, what is it? Just the Lord of the Rings as a
Oh
show?
no, it's 1,000 years before.
Oh, okay.
I think.
That could be good.
To my knowledge, they spent like $240 million on the first season. At least that's the last number I heard. Yeah, it's supposed to come out. So it's prequel to the events of Lord of the Rings, depicting previously unexplored stories based on Tolkien's works, with
Okay,
some
that could
creative.
actually be interesting. Like I think that
Yeah.
that could actually
Oh,
be.
250 million in 2017.
It's not coming out for another year.
Yes. Oh, that's what they spent for the rights just to.
God, what the fuck? They're making a Wheel of Time show. Fuck.
I mean, in Amazon's credit, at least they filmed it in New Zealand again. So
Yeah, that is wise.
we will see. Although, did you see the teaser for the House of Dragons?
No. Oh,
It
is that
looks,
the Game of Thrones spinoff?
yeah, yeah.
That should be interesting.
I mean, to
I
me,
I am
it looked interesting. It looked
I'm
good.
vaguely tempted to get into the Game of Thrones tabletop war game.
You would.
The minis are cool. The system like actually makes a modicum of sense, and it's not as like convoluted or expensive as Warhammer. I'm not
Uh,
exaggerating. Like I looked into it, and I was like, oh. Plus, also all the rule books are free.
it's
So
actually kind of nice.
and like all of the factions of the like all of the different factions come in different color plastic, so you don't even actually need to paint them if you don't want to.
That's interesting.
So
Hmm.
like the Targaryens are all a dark red, while the Greyjoys are all like a teal.
Yeah, I'm looking at them right now for some reason.
And I think my issue is like I don't know what because I'd want to get one of the starter sets. I'd probably go Night's Watch. I'm gonna be real with myself. But I
Those
mean,
are
$100 for everything you need to play the game basically is kind of a good deal compared to like Warhammer.
interesting.
Because for $100 in of the Night's Watch starter set gets you 5 combat unit cards, a measuring stick, 10 objective cards, Night Watch D6 dice, like 10 dice, 10 terrain pieces, 5 attachment cards, 12 siege cards, reference card, 1 white 6-sided D3 die, 3 castle walls, 3 non-combat unit cards, 1 castle wall card, 71 cardboard tokens, 5 movement trays, 1 rule book, 26 tactics cards, 20 secret mission cards, 1 tactics board, 47 miniatures. Like for $100 for fucking anything Warhammer. Now I'm even wondering. Like even a core starter set. Well, you can get the Warhammer 40K Elite Edition,
Hmm.
which does get you 2 armies, measuring sticks, a set of dice, a bit of terrain, and a rule book for $100. So fairly comparable, but then you get into like, okay, Space Marines, what can I get for $100? 2 units of Eradicators, which is 6 models. Because actually, that's where you look at it. Is what? How much do you get? How many models do you get in that? 27 models versus 47 for the Game of Thrones or Song of Ice and Fire. Sorry.
Yep, still too rich for my blood. Ugh. Ugh. All right. We got anything else to cover?
I don't.
I don't really either, because I'm boring. Really am.
I'm. Shit happens,
It's true. It's very true.
and then shit doesn't happen.
Most of the shit not happening.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. That was a good one. It was an hour and a half.
Yeah, not bad.
Too bad I was late, so it was not bad.
Guy, shit happens.
I honestly don't remember turning off any of my alarms, but apparently I did.
All right. Well,
All right.
this was whatever it was again. So thank you guys for watching. Oh, yeah, it's a good man. Keep them.
Don't know what to do with my hand. Keep them up.
Don't do something stupid. But yeah.
Yep.
Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Oh, I almost did something.
You did.
Can't do anything. So difficult.
Not going.